All right, are you guys ready for the third DCEU update this week? This has actually been a crazy, crazy week. And I could have reported this yesterday, but I actually had a 7-hour concert to go to. We had a big concert here in America with Def Leppard, Joan Jett and the Blackhearts, Motley Crue, and Poison. And I took my wife to that as a birthday gift. So I wasn't around to report on this, and I actually wanted to give it a day to see if any more information would come out on one of the big stories that got released. But let's take a look at each of these stories. So the first story I wanted to talk about was there have been some shuffling of the movies yet again. We've got Aquaman 2, which is now moving to Christmas of next year and will release after The Flash. This is big news because, we already know that Michael Keaton has gone in to record some new scenes for Aquaman 2. And if this is post-Flash, which it is definitely going to be now, then Ben Affleck survives and will be the DCEU Batman. So that is not changing. There were some people trying to report this week that Ben Affleck was going to be killed. Some people in my comments were saying, no, not Michael Keaton, but Ben Affleck was definitely going to be killed in the Flash movie, and he would not be the Batman going forward. Well, we now know that is not going to be the case. That is a definitive thing by the way they are shuffling these movies around. And Shazam got moved to, is moving to March 17th of next year, which is good. I think Shazam moving was the best thing they could have done because we've got Avatar 2, which is going to be coming, I think, a week or two after Shazam, and that would not be a good thing. Or they might have even been coming out the same week. I don't remember exactly what the release date of Avatar 2 is, but it would have been suicide to release that movie. And so the only movie we have releasing this year is going to be Black Adam. With Black Adam being the only movie, there are reports out there that they just financially do not have the money to advertise and release any other films this year, which I don't quite understand because all these movies are funded by investors, and investors have their money tied up in it. It's not really the money of the studio that's putting it together. It's the investors. What we do know is that Warner Brothers Discovery, David Zaslav took on like $2.3 billion of debt. They're in the hole. They're going to have to make that up. And this is why we're seeing a lot of the shuffling of movies and things getting canceled and things moved around. And so Black Adam is going to be the only DCEU movie that gets released this year, but there are going to be quite a few next year. And they actually also moved a couple of these films that were just going to be releases on HBO Max to theatrical releases. They did confirm that Blue Beetle is going to be a theatrical release now. And so there's quite a bit that is actually going on behind the scenes. So that's the first story I wanted to talk about. The second story I want to talk about is the fact that it looks like Warner Brothers Discovery has hired their equivalent of Kevin, I don't remember how you say his name, from Marvel to set up and oversee the DC universe. So let's take a look at this story. So Dan Lin is now officially in talks to take over all control of not just the film, but also the TV aspect of the DC universe for Warner Brothers Discovery. Now, this is not a definitive thing yet, but let's take a look at this here. So he's actually not a terrible person for the role, as long as he's going to. They did say he is going to report directly to David Zaslav. So he's not going to be doing everything on his own, but he is going to be in charge of doing all of the movie and TV stuff in regards to DC. But you can see he's been the franchise producer of such movies as It, Sherlock Holmes, the Lego franchise, and other big titles like Aladdin. Now, here's what I read about the issue with this. He's directly tied with Disney at this stage. This is not a done deal type of situation. He is tied to Disney directly. He has a couple of movies coming out for them, and I think the next one is probably Pinocchio. I can't remember what I read. But he is tied up with Disney right now as we speak. And with him being tied up with Disney, he's going to have to kind of fix his contract with them if they're going to be able to pull him over into the DC fold. So there's some stuff that logistically has to be worked out through, with Disney and then coming over to Warner Brothers Discovery. But he would oversee everything. He would oversee all of the TV shows as well as the movies. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. I've seen some pretty hateful comments out there of people saying, he would be Walter Hamada 2.0 simply because he's Asian. But there are reports that, Walter Hamada will be leaving the country, and he is going to be leaving Warner Brothers Discovery entirely after the release of Black Adam on October 21st. So we're less than 2 months away from that release now, and I'm actually getting more excited for it by the day. I've had a ton of people in my comments say, that Henry Cavill is definitely not coming back and that ship has sailed. They don't know what they're talking about. There are more reports even today by some big scoopers that are saying, yeah, in fact, Henry Cavill is back full force for Black Adam in the costume and everything. So it's still a rumor at this stage, and I admit to that, but these scoopers that are giving us this information have been right on some big things in the past, and they are more in the know than the average person. So there are lots of things happening behind the scenes. Now, the last story I want to talk about here is Ezra Miller. And holy crap, this is a story that is not going away. So Ezra Miller has met with the Warner Brothers Discovery leadership in an attempt to make sure that The Flash can move forward. And here is the basics of what is happening with this story. Miller has had a lot of controversy in the media recently, and I've had some people mention in my comments, and this I was not aware of, that, Ezra Miller didn't really care about those things, and come to find out, that's pretty much the case. They're saying that he only met with Warner Brothers Discovery after realizing that they might completely cancel The Flash entirely. And apparently Ezra Miller loves playing this character, and he met with them to basically calm the waters and say, hey, look, I still want to play this character, and I want to come back, and I do want to continue with this and be a part of it. But he doesn't really care. Apparently, he was okay with the bad press. He didn't really care about his behavior. He was perfectly okay with what he had done, and he was unapologetic. So he just went in to meet with them just so he would make sure that The Flash gets released. So he's not really sorry for his behavior, apparently. And some of the reports on this, they're backing up those claims that he just doesn't really care about what is happening, and he's just doing this to make sure that the movie still gets released. So there has been just a ton of information coming out this week, and I will bring you as many updates as I need to bring you all of the information. So everything I showed you here today, none of this was rumor other than a few things that I mentioned with Henry Cavill. Everything I showed you today is fact. These things are the things that are happening behind the scenes and the things that are going on in the DCEU and with Warner Brothers Discovery. So if you guys want to stick around and learn everything that's going to be happening over the next couple of years, please stick to my channel. I've had amazing growth on my channel just over the last month. I'm very grateful for everybody who has subscribed and is hitting that notification bell and watching my videos. I have really taken a big leap forward with YouTube over the last couple of months. Well, just the last month, actually. It's been huge for me, and I appreciate the support. The more you guys support the channel, the better the content's going to be, and the more time I can invest in doing stuff for you guys. So if you haven't already, please subscribe, hit that notification bell, and you will be notified as new videos go up in the future. All right, we'll see you guys on the next update.